Well, here it is, the final playoff preview for the second round of the 2024 OHL Playoffs. And it features two teams that are very familiar with one another. It's the first seed London Knights and the fourth seed Kitchener Rangers. Of course, both these teams coming from the Western Conference, and they were battling it out throughout the regular season. You'll remember Kitchener had that hot start to the year, surprising many, and then London putting on that amazing point streak. They were down by over 10 points behind Kitchener in the Midwest Division standings, but with that point streak, they were able to surpass the Rangers and eventually have a 10-point gap themselves over Kitchener when it was all said and done at the end of the regular season. So two teams, very competitive and proud franchises, and this should be a lot of fun. The London Knights, they did win the season series with a record of 4-1-1. And one of those wins, the Knights put up 10 goals. It got ugly. And really, that was a point in the season where the Kitchener Rangers kind of fell off a bit. And they went into a bit of a tailspin after hitting a speed wobble. But after the OHL trade deadline, they were finally able to settle things down and finish fourth in the Western Conference standings. But these two teams, they play tight games, usually very physical games. And it's always fun when they meet in the postseason. So let's go over the numbers. The London Knights, of course, they swept the Flint Firebirds in the opening round. One of those games did go to overtime, so the Flint Firebirds, they did put up a bit of a fight, but in the end, the Knights would win the series in 4. Well, the Kitchener Rangers, they needed 6 games to defeat the Erie Otters. Game number 6 last night ended up going to overtime, and Luke Ellenis was the overtime hero in that one, as that was a fun series, the Rangers and the Otters. And now they got to get ready to take on the London Knights starting tomorrow night at Budweiser Gardens, as this series, it turns around really quick here for the Kitchener Rangers. Let's go over the stats from the opening round. The goals for Kitchener, they had 24, London 16. But remember, the Knights only playing those 4 games, so their stats a little less than Kitchener, but still impressive 16 goals in those 4 games to Kitchener's 24. Goals against, the Rangers gave up 23 goals in those 6 games, and London, they only gave up 9. So the goals for and against, very even for the Kitchener Rangers, while the London Knights, they're a little more dominant in their stats. On the power play, the Kitchener Rangers, they went 7-19 in the opening round, while the Knights 3 for 9. So both decent power play units here. We'll see what they can do as this series progresses. In the penalty kill department, the Rangers a bit of an edge. 85.7% was their success rate in the first round, and for the London Knights, 80%. So these two teams, I think, are a lot closer than what the stats show, although you have to give the edge, I think, to the firepower that the London Knights have and that defense. So let's go into the top scorers in the opening round, starting off with the Kitchener Rangers. Philip Machar, the Montreal Canadiens prospect, led the team in scoring 1 goal, 9 assists, good for 10 points. So Machar really helping out with the setting up of the scoring opportunities and whatnot. So good to see him at the top. Edward Chalet, the former Barrie Colt, 3 goals, 5 assists, good for 8 points. And then Luke Ellenis, the rookie, 4 goals, 3 assists, good for 7 points. And of course, one of those goals coming last night in overtime against the Erie Otters. Carson Rakoff, he led the team in scoring during the regular season, but in the playoffs, he's right now 4th. 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points. So still 4 goals for Carson Rakoff is a good sign for this team going forward. And rounding out the top 5, Matthew Sopp, 3 goals, 2 assists, good for 5 points. And Jackson Parsons, fantastic in net for the Rangers. He had a 3.28 goals against average and an .895 save percentage. So he's going to be counted upon in this second round matchup against the London Knights. He's going to expect to face plenty of shots against London. Now shifting focus to the Knights' top scorers in that first round. Denver Barkey, he's been having a fantastic year. 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points in those 4 games. Easton Cowan, the Toronto Maple Leafs prospect, he was on that 35-game point streak, I believe, at the end of the regular season, and he just kept putting up the points in the 4 games against the Flint Firebirds. 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. Landon Sim, he had 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. Max McHugh, he had a good series as well, a goal and 4 assists, good for 5 points. And then Kasper Hultinen, he's lethal on the power play. He had 3 goals, 1 assist, good for 4 points in that opening round. And no surprise, Michael Simpson appearing in all 4 games for London. He had a goals against average of 2.14 and a .917 save percentage. So goaltending, I think, is going to be very close. Simpson and Parsons have done a great job this season in their respective nets, and that'll continue, I believe, into this second round matchup, which I think we have to give the edge to the London Knights with the talent, with the offense, but you can't count out guys like Carson Rakoff, Matthew Saab. I didn't even talk about Bruce Stevich on the blue line for the Kitchener Rangers, and then Chalet and Machar. They've stepped up here in the postseason. So things, I think, are a little more even than we expect, but I think it's a bit of a slight edge right now to London Knights going into the second round series. The last time these two teams met was in the second round of the playoffs last year, and the London Knights ended up winning that series in 5. But they also met in 2022. In that series, Kitchener won in 7 games. So this is now 3 years in a row that we're seeing the London Knights and the Kitchener Rangers go at it in the postseason. And then when you look back the last 10 years, this is the 5th meeting between these two Midwest Division rivals. They're quite familiar with one another come playoff time. London Knights, though, they do have the advantage with a record of 3-1 in those previous 4 matchups in the postseason. So I think this series could be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's a classic Knights versus Rangers. It gets underway tomorrow night. So like I said, a very quick turnaround for Kitchener after just playing last night in Erie to wrap up that very even 6-game series. So let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on this series. And if you haven't seen any of the preview videos of the other 3 series, you can always head to the channel and check on that as we continue to move along through the 2024 OHL playoffs. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.